Welcome back, traders. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, about 1 minute late, but here you have it, the SPACs attack. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to get into the merger votes that are coming up just next week and towards the end of the month. We're going to pay attention. The market is bouncing back a little bit. We have been seeing some names run. I was looking at QS today. We'll talk a little bit about this. Like always, welcome to the SPACs attack. You out there, guys. That's what we do this show for. We don't do it for Chris and I. We do it for you guys out there. So do me the favor, hit that like button. Let's get started. Let's bring on Chris Katje. You guys know him as Chrisopedia. I just know him as my brain. But what's going on, Chris?
Hey, yeah, what's going on, Mitch? Happy Friday. Another exciting day. It's the end of the week. It's Friday. That deserves some likes, guys. If you haven't been here for our Friday shows, especially Friday shows where we don't have interviews, they're kind of casual, right?
I hope I don't give anybody a seizure disclosure.
Yeah, we probably should have a disclosure on that. But Mitch, yeah, our Friday shows, right? Especially when we don't have interviews, we like to do some casual. We like to be laid back, right? We're all about the community here. So we're going to go through headlines. We're going to look at our watch list. We're going to talk about, October, but we also want to be engaged. So go ahead, guys. Once I'm done with headlines, start asking questions and dropping tickers in the chat. We're going to have lots of time today to get to some questions, to get to some tickers. So let us know what you want to hear about today.
All right, let's go ahead and let's give them the news of the day, the headlines behind the headlines behind the headlines. What you need to know in the SPAC industry is on right now. Chrisopedia, inform us, please.
All right, guys. Yes, starting first, Analyst Notes. I only saw one notable analyst comment this morning on a SPAC or a former SPAC, and that was DM, Desktop Metal. This was an interesting one because Oppenheimer initiating coverage on Desktop Metal with a perform rating. Not underperform, not outperform, just perform. No price target, essentially a neutral rating, but not a lot to go off of here. I haven't seen the full note, but I'll try to look for that and see maybe why the hesitation to issue a opinion one way or the other here. Then we have Rocket Lab, rklb. This has been a high flyer the past couple days. They've been getting some deals. They announced that they got a deal from NASA for Advanced Composite Solar Sail System. Terms were not disclosed. This is for their Electron rocket that will deploy an innovative satellite designed to test structures and materials for solar sail propulsion systems that could pave the way for sunlight to power future deep space exploration. That could be a big deal, right? And again, Rocket Lab keeps signing these contracts with NASA. That's something we love seeing in the space, space, pun intended there. Mitch and I talk a lot about space stocks, and one of the things is you always like seeing NASA, you always like seeing contracts. It's nice validation here. So Rocket Lab, again, past couple days has seen some volume, has seen some runs. Pulling back today, but we will definitely keep on watch. And we have EFTR, Effector Therapeutics. So the company announced some preclinical data for zotatifin in breast cancer. Remember, this is a low float bio SPAC. So this one has been known to run. If I look at the chart, we're up 11% today. This is the one, though, if you look back, this one hit us, I think, $70 at one point on the candle. But, look at that chart. This thing spiked. Again, low float biotech. And now you have the catalyst, right? that they reported the preclinical data. So keep an eye out. EFTR, again, biotech, not my strength area by any means, but definitely notable news today. Then another one that's mentioned a lot and has been flying recently is hlbz, hlbz. So hlbz reported a partnership with Intel's Move It. They will expand the integration of their electric vehicles with the Move It app. So again, hlbz, a micro mobility company, and Intel's Move It is the leading mobility as a service solutions provider and #1 urban mobility app. So that is a big deal, right, for them to partner on this. 35 operating cities for hlbz across the US and Italy and other countries. So again, working together on this collaboration, this could be a big deal for hlbz.
I like to move it,
You know,
move
I
it.
was thinking
I
that the
like to
whole
move
time.
it, move it.
The whole time I
like
said
to
move it.
move
Like,
it. Hey.
I mean, anyone who's seen Madagascar, I think, definitely knows that song, right? My kids have seen all of those. And yeah, I mean, shout out to Intel for naming your company, your subsidiary there, Move It, Moovit. You can have that catchy jingle as your theme song going forward. So nice call out there, Mitch. Then we have some earnings. We have MOTV. The SPAC is merging with Forge Global. So Forge reported a total revenue of $68.1 million for the 6 months ending June 30th. That was up 306%. Placement fee revenue for Forge Market grew 291% to $58 million. Again, don't know a ton about this company, but that is some nice growth, going into the merger. Then we have Bowx, which is merging with WeWork. They have a date set for later this month. They announced preliminary third quarter revenue. So $658 million, $228 million of that coming in the month of September. They said they're on track to close on or about October 21st, subject to shareholder approval. That revenue total was down 11% year over year. They're seeing occupancy of 60% in September. That's up from 52% at the end of the second quarter. They're also seeing strong memberships. So their all access and virtual memberships increased 32,000 in the third quarter, up from 20,000 in the second quarter. So could see a return to growth there for WeWork. Then one of our high flyers yesterday, we had Redwire, RDW. So this is a space stock. There was a video circulated on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you can see that video where a Redwire subsidiary executive mentioned that the company was in talks with Amazon and that there could be news in a couple months. So this was Alicia Carey from Redwire. Again, if you watch that video, she was asked a question that compared Redwire to being the Amazon of space. And rather than just talking about that analogy, she may have slipped and dropped some information out there to the public by saying that the company was in talks with Amazon. Again, this is not confirmed. This is just a rumor, but this was a person from Redwire at a public, Q&A kind of dropping this news. So keep an eye out, Redwire. This is a space infrastructure and mini space ETF by itself, has over 50 years in the industry, and has also been a part of over 150 space missions. This is one of my favorites in the space sector. You've heard me talk about it for a while on here, formerly GNPK. It is now RDW. And then no stranger to short reports, the SPAC industry. We got a new one yesterday on Faraday Futures. The Faraday Future was called The New EV Scam in Town. That's by J Capital Research. And they called the company a scam and said that they will never sell a car. So China-based Faraday Future has invented most of its bookings and failed to deliver a single car, the report said. Nothing but a bucket to collect money from U.S. investors and pour it into the black hole of debt created by its founder. Again, that coming from J Capital. Also said that the company has gone back on its promises to build factories in 5 locations in the U.S. and China, and will delay a 6th as well. Palantir is an investor in the pipe, $25 million. That called out in the report. It said, move over Lordstown. There's a new EV scam in town. We all know the Lordstown troubles and short reports there. And then also highlighting the fact that Evergrande, which is the Chinese real estate developer that's been in the news a lot, called Faraday the malformed love child of Evergrande. Again, not my words. This is coming from J Capital, saying Evergrande owns 20.5% of this company and stands to gain more equity to sell off its shares as soon as the lockup period ends in January 2022, if not quietly before then. Faraday Futures founder dismissed the short seller allegations in a post, and said that this is not the first time J Capital has made a fool of themselves. So do with that as you wish. I will note, and on that chart, FFIE, we did see a dip yesterday when the short report was put out, but shares actually ended the day up yesterday. That's not something you see a lot, right? Typically, these short reports knock stocks down, and it can take a day or two to recover. But if you look at that chart, the short report came out, you saw shares dip, and then again, ended the day green yesterday. So it looks like this short report did not have the big impact as these typically do. Then we did get one merger vote date last night. SWBK setting a November 2nd vote date with Bird, that is a micro-mobility company. And then we did have one deal announced yesterday. So FMAC, First Mark Horizon Acquisition, announced a merger with Starry, valuing the company at $1.66 billion. Starry has a mission to become one of the largest broadband providers in the U.S., offering a high-speed fixed wireless experience using an end-to-end technology stack. So founded in 2013, the company now covers 4.7 million homes in 6 markets: Boston, New York, LA, DC, Denver, and Columbus. They've spent over $200 million to develop their technology that enables gigabyte speed internet. They also have a net promoter score of 72, which, if you know the cable and internet industry, 72 has got to be among the highest, an industry ripe with complaints. They sell their monthly plans for $50 to $80 on average. They expect to hit 40 million homes covered in 37 states by 2026. So cable incumbents have 67% market share in the U.S. broadband market. And again, they plan to disrupt that. Revenue of $13 million last year, estimate of 22 million in 2021, and growing at an annual growth rate of 124% from 2020 through 2023. $1.1 billion by fiscal 2026. 35,000 subscribers in 2020. Estimates 62,000 in 2021 and 1.4 million by fiscal 2026. Shares were up 1% yesterday. Again, FMAC. And then lastly, a notable headline here relating to the SPAC industry, Mitch. We talk about space stocks a lot. You heard me say Redwire and Rocket. The biggest space company out there, of course, privately held SpaceX, led by Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla. You can't buy shares, but if you did buy in a private investment in SpaceX, you are probably quite happy today, as SpaceX is now valued at $100 billion following the sale of shares by an existing investor.
Billions.
$100 billion.
Billion.
I mean, Mitch, I don't think that's a big surprise, right? SpaceX, we all know it's valuable. We all know people want a piece of it. And one of the existing investors looking to take some profits. And I'm sure there was, a ton of buyers lined up for this. And again, we don't know if SpaceX will be going public, anytime soon. But I was going to take a look at our watch list. I know we're going to get into that, and I'm not seeing the big jump in space stocks yet. So I was thinking maybe Rocket Lab, RKLB, or like Astra would get a little bump on that space news of SpaceX, but it doesn't look like it's having a big impact. What do you think, Mitch? SpaceX, $100 billion. Do you think that changes valuations on some of these other space companies, or is SpaceX just in, a complete league of their own?
I think it actually helped. The reason why is I can see a little bit of a positive reaction from SPCE. Why would SPCE have a positive reaction to another company getting a valuation higher than expected? Well, it's as simple as that, right? Is that if you value that company at higher prices, what's not to make you think that SPCE is also valued at a higher price, especially now that they've actually gone on their missions, right? They brought Branson up there. So I think at this point, you definitely have to look at the valuation of this company different than you did before that, right? At least I would.
Yeah, and Mitch, we're in what month now? We're in October.
Mm-hmm.
Back in February, SpaceX had a valuation announced, I think, due to a sale. And how much was SpaceX worth in February? $74 billion. That's a big jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a couple months. So 74 billion in February and now valued at $100 billion.
Also, just to point out, what has SpaceX done during that time, right?
Exactly.
They've gone up to space.
Yep.
And that it's like validation, right? When you actually start seeing the product in space, coming back down, landing, you're like, okay, they got this. For a long time, SpaceX was viewed as what? A dream of Elon Musk,
yeah.
a pipe dream. And as we can see, that dream came true. Dreams come true, man. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on SpaceX and the other space stocks right here on SPAC's Attack. It's one of our favorite subjects to talk about. I know Chris and I are big space geeks, even though we don't have that space run that we had back in the day. Can we get another one? I think we will.
I think we can for sure. Yeah. I mean, space stocks definitely exciting. And, for me, I can't buy shares of SpaceX because I'm not, an institutional investor. I can't buy shares of Blue Origin. So what do? I look for the other space pure plays, right? Or the ones with the deals, the ones with the revenue, like you said, Mitch. So yeah, I own some Virgin Galactic, but I also want exposure, through like a Redwire, a space infrastructure, or a satellite company, right? We've got several satellite SPAC deals. We've also got Rocket Lab and Astra, right, with rockets. And Rocket Lab's actually, completed some missions, and they have some deals with NASA, as you heard me say in headlines. So those are the ones I'm looking at here in space. I think, pun intended, it is a very exciting space to be in.
All right. I want to definitely give a shout out to the chat. Hey, chat, we see you out there. Definitely hit the like if you guys are enjoying me bringing a little fun to the chat today. That's what I'm trying to do, trying to make this an exciting event like always. I mean, SPAC sometimes can get a little bit redundant, and that's why I will definitely bring the energy. You guys do me the favor, smash that like. I'm only seeing 24 likes right now. We got over 168 people here. So do me the favor, let me know. Unlike, just give me an opinion. Let us know what you guys are enjoying about the stream. All right, let's go ahead.
Mitch, how about that SPAC deal for Starry? We make jokes here, right, about certain cable and internet companies. Yeah. Maybe one that begins with a C, where sometimes your connection's not the best. But the cable industries, as I said, they have like 68% market share. I think there's room for disruption. So I don't know anything about Starry prior to this deal, but I'm going to be following this company because I'd love to see someone take on the big boys, the big cable companies, the big broadband companies. So what do you think? Have you heard of Starry? It sounds like they're in Denver, but I had never heard of them.
I honestly, I can say I have not. So what does that give me? That gives me that, hey, starting up type of company. So what does that give me? Early. Is the idea here? The idea is here. You're mentioning it exactly, right? Try to jump into the monopoly that is Comcast and start taking away their market share. Do other people want to find another provider Yes, you can look at the major competitor, CenturyLink. CenturyLink, as I would say, is Comcast's major competitor right now. For a while, it was AT&T and AT&T Uverse. You can also pull them into that conversation. But with that being mentioned, AT&T has lost a lot on that kind of route. They did have some advantage there, but I don't see the competitive advantage there anymore. Now, one thing that is happening, and I think that everyone needs to pay attention to, is infrastructure, right? We talk about infrastructure all the time. So one of the things that's happening, and this is already happening, is a change from coax to fiber optics, right? And so you're seeing in different cities, whether it be major cities like, let's say, New York, there's probably already fiber optics everywhere. And fiber optics that actually get put into the ground, not just fiber optics to coax to fiber optics. That doesn't really give you the speed. You want to see fiber optics actually laid out underneath the ground. And so that's one thing to keep in mind with this area. And I think a reason why you're seeing companies come out here, right? Because if the infrastructure changes, what does that do? That brings the cost down, right? And so it lets a company like FMAC step in here, or Starry step in here and try to gain advantage of the up in technology, lowering in pricing, and trying to jump on the growth game. That's what I think you're going to see here. It's something to watch. It's something that I think everyone's looking for, higher and higher speeds in broadband. Whether you're in rural places or you're in a big city, you're going to expect high speed internets, and it's just increasing. Soon we'll be going into 2 gigabytes. It's going to be crazy out there. I think there's going to come a point in time where it's standard to have a 5 gigabyte connection. Chris, can you imagine?
It sounds great, right? I mean, I'd love to have a faster connection. Nice call out there on the infrastructure. Yeah, I mean, to me, Starry, the fact that you haven't heard of it and you live in Colorado and they're in Denver, I think they're still early. I think, they definitely need to spend more money to build out the infrastructure. They need to spend money to get the brand out there. And then, yeah, so you got, call outs of Verizon and Comcast in the chat to name drop there. They are going to face some hurdles to get, past these, incumbents. And let's face it, I mean, these big media companies and telecom plays, they have tons of money. They can spend money aggressively to undercut on pricing. So if Starry offers a $50 a month plan, I just don't know, how quickly they can win people over if the incumbents are willing to also, do heavy promotions to gain customers. And all the apartment complexes, that I used to live in, I feel like had deals with cable companies, right? Mm-hmm. Where you had to use a certain company because they lock in those deals. So can Starry lock in these landlords and these deals? That wasn't their presentation. That's part of their plan, right? Is to go after the housing units and the landlords. We'll see if that ends up being effective for them or not.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely pay attention to see how their growth grows. But being mentioned, Verizon, what do they run on? Fiber optics. That's why they're called
FiOS,
the Verizon
right?
Fio.
Yeah.
And so there's a reason why Verizon stepped into the game. Why? Because they started noticing that a lot of their infrastructure has to do with fiber optics. And now they have over 5 million customers in 9 US states. And the big reason why is because it operates over fiber optics communication networks versus just your standard coax.
All right, Mitch, I'm seeing in the chat one that was on my watch today.
Let's do it.
Since we're going to get into the watch list, are you ready? So we got Christopher in the chat. Nice name. SKLZ, Mitch. I don't know if you saw about this. Falling knife. We are at, I think, all-time lows on SKLZ today. We're down 6%. We broke through the 850 level. I'm seeing 829.
Let's go ahead and take a look into our watch list and see what we're seeing out there. It looks like Skills is going to be the first one. Like always, you guys hit the like and let us know you appreciate us getting into the watch list. All right, so we're talking about Skills. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the chart. What are we seeing out there? Looks like we are dipping through that low right now. This is one that I got to say, I don't like to do this, guys, because I know that some people are losing money on skills, but I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back because I told myself, try to avoid this stock. As much as I wanted to buy in when the hype was going up here and it was ripping out through 30s, going up to the next levels, 40s, 45s, I said, I don't know, Chris. I just don't know about this one. I think Chris has heard me from the very beginning. Just be a little bit concerned about when the revenues were going to come, when that football game was going to come. I mean, we still haven't even seen it, right, Chris? I mean,
no, and I'm not one to chase falling knives. That's the one thing here is, to me, I think you do have a little bit of upside if they announce that NFL game, but you also have the risk. This was a contest that they did, right? Of someone to launch an NFL game. So there's some risk there, right? That whoever won this contest and they partnered with, what if they're not that great at developing a game? What if they don't deliver on this game? Is skills back to the drawing board? But again, we're already into the NFL season and the game hasn't come out. To me, that's a huge miss too. Also, we're seeing Kathy Wood, ARK Funds, is selling their shares of SKLZ. They still own a position, but
that's
I'm pretty
interesting.
sure she's been selling. I'd have to go back through my emails, but I know there was at least one day where there was some sales. And then the other thing I go back to, which I haven't heard any update on, I don't know if you remember, Mitch, but one of our very first episodes when we had Will Hershey on from Roundhill, right? One of the catalysts he called out on skills, which was a future long-term catalyst, was its patents, right? On the player versus player betting on mobile games. And he said that if they can ever partner or license that to a triple A game publisher, that could be a big deal. And I know that Skills filed a lawsuit against a gaming company. I haven't heard any update on that, though. So the fact that there hasn't been an update and maybe they're not able to monetize those patents has me a little concerned there, too, because I thought that was going to be a catalyst. So I'm staying away, but that NFL game, I mean, I just really feel like that has to happen, or this thing could, just lose all its luster and all its momentum.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, at least from right now in skills. Let's keep going with the watch list here. One that I want to point out already, we talked about it, was EFTR. Of course, that was trading higher in collaborations with Baylor College Medicine. You got there, they announced that presentation of that new data. I don't even want to try to say that name. You said it earlier, Chris, but I'll try to skip through there. What was it called?
Zotatafin, I believe, is what it is.
Oof. I don't want to be taking that. It just sounds like something scary to me, but who knows? This is for cancer therapeutics, so definitely a good thing here in animals models of triple negative breast cancer of the 2021. I mean, you're talking about international conference, and I'm sure this was out before, kind of not maybe the results, but that they were going to be at this conference and why you have to be paying attention to these conference with these SPACs. Let's go ahead and let's look at QS. It had a good day today. I was actually watching it on live trading with Benzinga. It had a good looking day. It did push on up there. What are you thinking here for QuantumScape?
Yeah, I still think their technology it looks promising. I think they're still early, but I think the concerns about valuation have gone away a little bit, right? I mean, this was one that traded, over $100 last year, and then obviously we saw the call out on valuation, but now in the 20 to 25 range, I think it may be valued appropriately, and we've called this out on the show when it was trading down around 20, Mitch. And I also know that Aaron Bree called this out too on Power Hour, I believe, when it was at 20. So again, I think that $20 price point looked attractive. I don't know if it hits over 25, how much more room there is right now without a catalyst.
Definitely something to keep an eye out for. We'll see what happens with this one. Looks like I was having a little bit of data issues here, so I'll pull it up here. QS definitely pushing up through that 24 price point. Let's take a look here. If you look at the hourly, you'll be able to see that last spike that we went through, right? We actually cut below that, came right to what? Almost filling that gap. It was so close. That's what I've been looking for more of. When we get these pops, look for that that retrace fill, right, of the shadow, and then look for another leg up. That's exactly what we got here. Now for me, as long as this can hold 23s, it's looking bullish. So you're only talking about a dollar risk now for a move back up towards 28. Doesn't look too bad. I could see that being a 4-to-1 type of trade. I'll definitely keep an eye on this QS. Of course, you don't want to see it break through 23, but it would be good for it to close above 24 today.
Mitch, how about IonQ? I'm seeing that towards the top of the watch list here, up 9% today, $8.34. This was one I called out either yesterday or the day before, right? And the question was, have we found the bottom? IonQ, we were at $10 pretty much the whole way through the SPAC merger process. And then the couple days before the vote, we started seeing a run, right? Over $11. A lot of interest from retail traders. And then there was some concern, though, that once the deal was voted on, that we would see the sell-off. And that's what happened. That's what kept me from buying shares, at $11 or even at $10 is, I thought we were going to see a sell-off. Under $8, I thought looked pretty attractive for, an IRA or a long-term portfolio. We're getting over $8 today. I think we're seeing some nice support. What are you seeing on IonQ here?
I think you can clearly see that it tried to stop there near 7. I think you really want to see it get back above 10 to really confirm that. But you're seeing the momentum. You're seeing the momentum off of that bottoming action. Another thing that you could clearly see is kind of a pattern here. If you wanted to call this an inverse head and shoulders. So you got the kind of the look here where you have a push towards the head here, and then it goes right back towards the shoulder here. And so that's kind of a bullish sign here. What you would want to see is it hold the resistance or the neckline. This is what they call the neckline of this pattern. And then so you'd want to see it hold that on pullbacks. As you guys can see, when it pulled back, it wicked right to 776, came quickly back above that $8. So to me, 775 is a level to hold here and let it start working from that level as you got that bullish pattern at the bottom. And you can see it on the 15. Also on the hourly, you can see that kind of inverse head and shoulders there at the bottom.
I see John's comment here in the chat. IonQ, love to have an IonQ Rigetti comparison. So Rigetti was the SPAC deal announced a couple days ago, SNII. We'll have to cover that next week. But Mitch, I don't know if you remember when we had Nicolo on the show to talk about IonQ. There was that slide in the presentation, and it showed IonQ versus the competition. And the bar for IonQ, remember, was all the way over here. Rigetti was on the bottom of that, and their bar, let's just say, went like this, not like this. So John, that's the comparison.
A small bar. There was big companies that were small bar too, like Microsoft.
Yep, Microsoft, Google, Dell, IBM, some of these other companies working on quantum computers. And the big thing for me with quantum is the fact that with IonQ is the fact that these big companies, Mitch, as you just said, these big companies, they're working on their own quantum technology, but they're also investing and partnering with IonQ. I think that's the validation for me for IonQ. Whereas Rigetti you can use with like Amazon Web Service, and they're providing some technology, but they don't have those huge partners and huge investors. So I got to do more digging on Rigetti, but to me, that slide showing IonQ that much further ahead, I think speaks volumes here.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's
get into DNA, Mitch? I saw DNA called out a couple times. So you heard me say about that short report with FFIE. The other big short report the other day was Ginkgo Bioworks, DNA. It actually got two essentially short reports. One short report, and then Citron essentially issuing not a short report, but confirming the short report from earlier, a very possible collaborated attack on DNA there. Those shares rebounded, though, from those lows. What are you seeing on the chart for DNA, Mitch?
What I'm seeing is this level, it doesn't want to get over that. 1126, it fought there for a while to try to get back over there. That's what you need to see it get through. If not, you might head down towards at least a test 10. The low here, it was holding there for a while, 939. I think this is one that I still am thinking, and I know that some people don't feel this way, but I just feel like it's a misunderstood company. Not necessarily that it doesn't have potential. I do see everything pointing to the upside, at least in the story, but I'm just not seeing that the investors know that exact thing because at least you can't see it on the chart. The technicals aren't showing you what the story and the fundamentals are pointing to. All right, let's keep going. Let's get into another one. If you guys got one in the chat you guys want to take a look at, like always, throw it up in the chat. I did see another one mentioned a little bit earlier. Let me go ahead and scroll on up. It was being talked about. Let's go. Let's go to the watch list. I'm not finding it. It was a little bit too far up here, but I can definitely go to our watch list and just try to find another one here that's moving. So let's take a look here. What other ones are moving? We got opad moving up. We could take a look here at opad, smfr, lucy, bfly moving on up. MP was one that I called out earlier in the week. So let's take a look at that one. And see
and you
if that
got
one started moving.
You got Nick in the chat asking for MP too, Mitch. So good call out there.
That sounds perfect to me. Let's go ahead and take a look here. All right, so I'm going to lower this volume bar so that we can at least see this chart here. As you guys can see, I actually talked about this stock on Monday. So we're talking about, we were right here in this area. And now we've kind of broke through that low, but we reclaimed that low. And so for me, 30, 46, 30, 50s, I want to see that hold, let it close back above 31 here, and then you could go off of that level. I'm looking for MP to have a good move going into 2022. Could it get back towards that 50? I really do think so. Could that be in 2022? Yeah, I do think it could be maybe early 2022, but I'm looking for this one to get hot here. I do like the trade. I could take that trade off of 30 right now, maybe the whole price point right there, but we'll see if this one could get roaring again. This is MP Materials.
And Mitch, it looks like early November for earnings report. So we're less than a month away. And if you remember, their last earnings report was quite good, right? They beat because they had higher production and they also had a higher cost per unit sold. So that was a double event for them. So I'll be keeping an eye on the earnings because I'd love to see more momentum come into MP, post earnings play here.
Another thing that I like to point out, and you don't have enough data to really say that this is 100% true, but one thing that I like to point out, Chris, is that I always look at time frames, right? Seasonality. Look how this traded between August and November. So we're going to go back and we're not going to act like we even saw this. We're going to just pay attention to this. Look how we were trading sideways in between August, September, October. A dip right before November, but then November came. I'm sure this was probably earnings or some news came out, and then boom, it started moving up. So let's look back at where we're trading right now, right? So then we look into the August period, and you can see we've kind of been in a sideways period for a little while here. And so we just need to kind of break out of this period with possibly good earnings, and then we can get that next lift up. That's what I'd be paying attention to see if we get that next move.
Nice call out. We'll have to come back and check on this episode in a month or two.
All right, guys, if you guys got a stock to take out there, I did see Martin talk about this one here, Bark. Let's go ahead and let's go to Bark. I know a lot of people are thinking a look at Bark because it does these volatility moves where it comes off the channel and then it comes right back up through that channel. So if you can see here, you see how this stock kind of has a tendency, and I wouldn't draw from there. I'd probably draw from this low here. So you have this tendency of just kind of chopping. Wait till you really get a change in the trend. What I would look at is the monthly chart. You see how you haven't seen any green really show up there? This is what we've been talking about a lot with these falling knives. Wait for the green month, right? There's no reason to overextend yourself, especially if these are only going to have a $2 range for the whole month. That gives you an ability that if it does go green, maybe you're risking $1 to the name. I would rather take that type of approach than get caught too many times dipping into knives. But I myself dipped into a knife this week. I dipped into DM. And what does it show? On the monthly, there's no green there. And so sometimes, you're not going to follow what you preach. But one thing I am going to follow is my plan in the trade. Always follow your plan in the trade. I've taken some shots now. I'm starting to dip my toes in DM, and we'll see what happens here. But my idea was I'm taking one spot here and looking at dollar cost average 2 more times and then call a bottom risk. We'll see what happens there. All right, looks like Declan's asking, great show so far. Do you do this every trading day? And so SPACs Attacks is really all about this specific area, right? We're looking into a certain industry. But here on Benzinga TV, we do this every day, all day. We talk about stocks, whether it be the trending stocks. You'll probably get that on the Power Hour. We do a pre-market prep show to get you guys ready for the market. We do a live trading show. A bunch of different styles of shows to find a show that you guys out there can attach yourself to. There's a lot of family here, and that's how I'd call them, because it's not even users. They're more a family. They have been here from the beginning. But if you want to join and learn about the SPAC industry, this is it right here on the SPACs Attack.
Yeah, Declan, thanks for joining us today. I'm guessing you're new here. Again, we're happy to have you. SPACs Attack and the other Benzinga shows, we've got different stuff and also education and interviews. We do lots of CEO interviews, so definitely great insight for the retail traders out there.
All right, someone bringing one that's interesting to talk about. Let's do it. Let's talk about PSTH here. The one that I'm glad I stayed away, but now
I hadn't looked at this recently. 1974 here. We're under $20, under net asset value. To me, Mitch, the similarities, I would say PSTH and Chamath, IPOD and IPOF. I still just feel like these are two big names. They really need a good deal. And I think they're being patient because I think they know how much pressure is on them. So I think Bill Ackman, he's one to like to overperform and, beat people's expectations. So I would expect PSTH to really work out a great deal. The music one fell through. The structure of the deal was a big, concern for investors. So let's see, though, if PSTH can turn it around. But I haven't heard any rumors of who else he's looking at right now.
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep an eye out to see what happens. But this is one of those things that one of the things that I think is happening, Chris, is that I think there's also pressure on SPACs right now because we saw that drive, right? And that took a lot of the supply out there from the private that was actually a heavy target, right? And so you're getting to that point where even the targets out there, do they even want to get called up by the SPACs right now? And that's the environment that we're in. We're in that battle of environment of investment. So who's winning now? Is it the pipe investors, or is it the SPACs themselves? That's the battle that you're seeing right now. I'm sure if we brought somebody on that was more into the banking, and maybe we get Julian on again, he can talk to us a little bit more about this situation. But I'm sure the battle's there. The battle has to be getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. We're seeing that where these bigger companies are going public, IPO or direct listing. I think there's a lot of avoidance for SPACs right now because it has fallen out of favor. And also we're seeing spikes in shares that go public, IPO. So I think until the trends kind of reverse, I think we'll continue to see that. Mitch, how about this comment in the chat? This isn't a ticker, but this is an interesting take on Benzinga because we have good looking people here. So hey,
well, thank you.
Shout out to the chat again. We always read and appreciate those comments. So what else do we got for ticker? I saw hymns. How about hymns, Mitch? Have you seen the Gronkowski commercial where he is in a pool? He's on like a raft and he's talking about hymns for his hair. Again, Gronkowski's done a lot of commercials, but he's a big name, and I think that could help with brand awareness for some of their products here.
Yeah, I would pay attention to see this because, I mean, you've been seeing Gronk on a lot of different commercials. I know that I've been seeing him on those Navy credit, the union.
USAA.
USAA.
The insurance for the military people, where he's trying to get it, and they tell him essentially
He's like, I've won championships,
Yeah. Yep. He is in a lot of commercials.
He's killing it. He's killing it. I got to say, if it's someone that you want a part of your brand, and there's sometimes athletes like that, right? That do really well in brand selling. I think he's one of those. So
Shaq, I would say Gronk and Shaq are two big ones right now for me, where they do a lot of endorsements, but I feel like they do them well.
And what does Shaq do? Everything he touches, where is it going? It's going up. The man's learning. He's learning from his business experience. He puts himself on the board. And I would love to see if Gronk kind of does the same. I would love to see if he gets a little bit more kind of into these as he comes out of the NFL. Right now, he's still in it, came back. But I could see that the same kind of approach that Shaq does. I could see Gronk doing the same thing. Hims, we'll see if it gets back up there. It got rocked like a wrecking ball. But we'll see if it gets back, right?
Yeah, they got Miley Cyrus too. Nice shout out there, Mitch. Shares have been hit like a wrecking ball. What is their earnings? Looks like late November. Their last two earnings reports, it looks like revenue was up 7% to estimates, so not huge beats there. So we'll see if there's momentum in this current quarter with some of those brand deals that they have.
Yeah, you want to come into the holidays. We'll see if it gets out of this, but I came in like a wrecking ball. A little Santa action, a little early for this, but who knows? We'll be looking to it into the holidays. This could be a holiday play, right, Chris? That's the way I'm looking at it. Why wouldn't Hims be a holiday plays? Hims and hers, right? We're gonna start seeing some gift baskets probably come out. Let's pay attention to see if we get some gas. There you go. There's the chat reacting to it. But yeah, we'll see if we get those gift baskets. I've been paying attention to them because this is what you might see when you have supply chain issues, and you're going to see some of these smaller little trinket gifts really start coming up. All right, let's go ahead. Let's catch up with the chat. I think they enjoyed that one.
I think so. What else we got, guys? Drop those tickers. We got like 12 more minutes. It's Friday. It's all about the fans, the viewers today. So drop those tickers in.
I see something out there. It's not necessarily this company, but if you could read my shirt right here, it's the body. The body. It looks like someone's mentioning it in the chat. Let's take a look here. I'm starting to think about dipping my toes in, Chris. I'm really, really considering it now. It's starting to get a little attractive to me here down at this valuation. It's bounced off the $5 level, but it hasn't really gave us that real pop, right? It gave us a little bit of juice here when we went back up towards 7, but now we're coming down towards the 5s. I've talked about how I wanted to get it at 5. It's gone to 5.15, maybe slightly below there, maybe a tick or two. I'm looking for 5. If I get a dip towards 5, you guys will see me take that shot. One thing I try to do is set up the plan, and if it shows up, execute.
Mitch, I think we all know the Beachbody brand. Remember that this merger also included Mix Fitness, which makes a bike known as a possible Peloton rival. I just searched on Google Trends, and the data for Mix Bike looks decent. We saw a spike a couple weeks ago in searches for Mix Bike and also for Mix Fitness. So maybe the brand is starting to get more attention.
Yeah.
When I search Google, I also see a lot of reviews, right? Mix Fitness review, Mix Bike reviews. And then also an article on USA Today, get an exercise bike for more than half off right now. So maybe some competitive pricing there. So again, I'd like to see some momentum on Mix. Because I think that could really be where the valuation could get a lift up here from Beachbody, because I think everyone knew Beachbody, and I think that was factored into the valuation. So I think for shareholders and for investors to really like the story here, I think that Peloton rival and that Mix really needs to play out a little bit more.
All right. Also, one thing that I would point out here, and just this is my thinking, I like to always give you guys what I'm thinking forward looking, so that if it comes into play, you guys can make your own investment decisions there. So what I'm thinking about body is this, and you guys, call it in the chat if you guys see it in my direction or not. So what I'm thinking is, so body is a lot about an in-home kind of workout, right? In-home kind of workouts probably weren't as popular in the summer this time because of the pandemic, right? And so people were probably going back and testing some gyms, testing out to going to work out outside, maybe doing some activities like hiking and stuff. But what's coming is winter. And when winter comes, what happens to everybody? They start going back indoors, right? And as they start going back indoors, what happens also is in places like I live, like, Colorado, it snows like crazy. Sometimes you just don't want to go and make it out to the gym because you're literally endangering your life to get to the gym, right? I mean, like, I know my fiance hates driving in the snow, even though we live here in Colorado. She makes me drive half the time because she just doesn't like the feeling of it, right? And so what happened to people like her? I could see her switching over to body. I could see her switching over to indoor workouts, to back at the home kind of workouts. So you could see a lift going into, I would say, the winter months here. So, I mean, winter is coming, Christopher. That is certain. I definitely to say that. And so what are you thinking there of my thinking there, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the trade always, right, is the January 1st, the New Year's resolutions, always helps. But yeah, I mean, Beachbody's one I've liked for a while. I hate to see it down this low. I know there was a lot of people that were in this one. We had Carl on the show again. I think they're launching some new products in that mixed bike again. I'd love to see some momentum in this one. And Mitch, you could be right that maybe the winter months could provide that momentum they need.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to actually reach out to Carl myself. He did give me an invite. If you guys never saw that interview, he said, you want to come work out with me? I'll get you into my group. So
I don't know if I would want to work out with Carl, man. I don't know. I don't think I can keep up, and that is intense. So I wish you the best of luck with that.
Chris, one thing I've been doing is I've been doing my practice, getting ready for Carl, man. I'm ready to get at it. I'm going to give him a call. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it right here on Benzinga. We might do a little tag team action, show you guys off the body product. Maybe I work out live. Who knows? We'll see what happens, guys. Stay tuned. Like always, give us a like. Let us know what you guys want to see. There's a reason why we got body on. It was because you guys out there requested it. All right, let's go to one more here. We're going to wrap up a little bit early today. We're going to wrap up at 11:55. Reason why is they got an action-packed show for you on Power Hour. There's going to be 3 interviews, not 1, not 2, 3 interviews. And I'll tell you right now, 2 of them really interest me that I'm even going to be watching. So stick around, guys. We got a great show for you coming on up on the Power Hour. And we're going to wrap up here with one more stock. What's that one for you, Chris? Anything standing out for you in the chat? I do see a lot of them going through.
I saw so many. I saw someone say TMC. I don't really want to do TMC. It's like $3.
It's trying to get off the ocean floor, right?
I saw PaySafe mentioned a couple times.
That one did get a. Let's talk about it. I don't think we talked about it too much, but they did get. Didn't they team up with Fubo?
Yes, wasn't that the news?
Yeah, there was Fubo.
PaySafe collaborates with Fubo Gaming over sports betting. And Mitch, I don't know if you saw, again, Fubo, not a SPAC. They had their uplisting last year. This was one that you called out, FUBO. Very successful trade for Mitch for pre-market prep. Fubo Gaming, I think, is going to be big, right? They actually just signed a deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Did you see that, Mitch? They got a deal. See that. Yep. So Fubo is going to have access, with the Cavs. Again, sports betting not legal in Ohio yet, but I think that sets them up well. But Fubo Gaming's launching in the 4th quarter, which we're in now, hopefully in a couple states. I think it's Iowa, Indiana, New Jersey they have access to, maybe Arizona. But PaySafe is the thing behind the thing, right? They power payment solutions for a lot of sports betting companies. They also do for a lot of gaming companies, right? Like Epic Games, Fortnite, and others. I think PlayStation and Xbox. But yeah, I mean, PaySafe, I think, again, misunderstood, right? Because they partner with so many of these companies. They're the thing behind the thing. But again, PSFE, I just think the long-term potential is there.
Yep, I'll keep an eye on it with Fubo. I think that's a great combination. And what can happen from here is just more sports betting combinations, right? A lot of sports betting is So when you get into that area, what do you want to do? Is you want to be having your payment secured, and then you want to have your data, right? There's just two sides of it. And right now I'm thinking that some companies are going to take the easy route on the payment side, not stress so much on that. So you could see some more partnerships opened up for PaySafe. We'll keep an eye out for those partnerships. Like always, guys, tell us what you guys thought about our show today in the comments after the show. And if there's a specific stock that you guys want on SPAC's Attack, we will do our best. I mean, if I got to reach out, Chris got to reach out, Zoltan got to reach out, we'll all go ahead and do that so that we can get them right here on SPAC's Attack. Anything else you want to leave off with?
I think that's it. Everyone, another great show. As I said, Fridays, we like to be laid back, casual. So hopefully we got to all your tickers. But till next time, everyone, take care and stay tuned. As Mitch said, Power Hour coming up next, 3 interviews.
All right, guys. So we're going to have a little bit of a sneak preview, I'm going to call it, into our cannabis. If you want to see our cannabis stocks, of course, next week we got the Cannabis Capital Conference. So definitely check that out. But up next on the Power, we got Kim Rivers from Trulieve. I'm definitely going to be paying attention to that interview. I know it's one of the companies that has been killing it in Florida. I do have some friends in there that have been seeing it come up and up and up, and have actually been in the stores and have told me that, yeah, they're definitely on the up. So definitely stay tuned. We got Trulieve coming on up. Similar Web, Tim Quast. Stay tuned. Power Hour, where the hype meets the stocks. We'll see you there, guys. And like always, hit the like. We'll see you next time on the one and only, the SPAC's Attack.